Marianna Boccolini was born in Narni, Umbria, Italy on May 7, 1992. She was baptized in the Church of Santa Maria Regina on September 12, which is also the feast of the Most Holy Name of Mary. Since childhood, Marianna was joyful, intuitive, and affectionate. During the years of elementary school, the teachers see in her not only a girl dedicated to her studies, excelling with good academic results, but also a girl always attentive to her less able classmates and to the suffering people, to whom she would spontaneously lend her help modestly. At 5 or 6 years old, Marianna once scolded her family members, who were busy with gifts and Christmas lunch, because they hadn't paid attention to a poor man who went door to door in need of money. The family in which she grew up was not particularly religious, and Marianna found herself experiencing the separation of her parents at the age of 7. Growing up, she had a passion for reading and painting. She also enjoyed writing poems, short stories, and reflections of wisdom. In 2002, at the age of 10, she received the First Communion, and that same year, she had the first episode of a very serious migraine, which during the violent attacks caused her various physical ailments. At the age of 11, she wrote,
I praise you, Lord, and I thank you for the gift of life, insuperably beautiful and precious, and I pray that everyone will realize what they have and learn to love and appreciate it. There is only one life, and you cannot have it twice. And that is why you must be able to live it serenely, because peace, joy, and goodness start from small places. It begins with us.
It was at the age of 14 that she received a confirmation. Once, she exhibited her paintings in an exhibition as part of the Cavo Art Festival in Terni and received a literary prize for a theme on immigration, in which she expresses her ideal of justice, solidarity, and brotherhood, an ideal that will accompany her until the end of her life. She expressed her thoughts in these lines written in a blog.
I would like to design a world of my own because I don't like what's out here at all, you know? What would the world be like without war, disease, poverty, injustice, or discrimination? What would the world be like without hunger or extermination? Without racism, and without hatred? The answer is up to you. For my part, if all this really happened, I could finally see the world of colors.
Marianna was in love with life, since she considered life a very precious gift from God. Her dream was to become a doctor, because she wanted to be able to heal others, help them fully, and research in laboratories the vaccines and medicines suitable for all types of diseases. Although her illness often causes her absences from school and a slowdown in intellectual and social activities, she still achieves excellent results. Marianna's love went to everyone, especially her classmates. There were many times when she showed love and kindness to everyone, all without discrimination, and she did so with the utmost joy. She had never opposed anyone, and she had never shown jealousy. The teachers saw her as an educated, modest, and brilliant pupil. During her middle school years, she once had a foreign classmate who was a Muslim, who was, at the same time, a bit of a bully. But Marianna did not see him that way. She once talked about how deep down he was a nice and sensitive guy, so much so that she once wanted to take him with her family to the theater to see a Christmas show. Over time, they formed a solid friendship, and this very boy later received baptism and became a Christian. Since Marianna was an intelligent girl, in elementary school, she was once told by a teacher that if there was a question that the students could not answer, she could be the first to raise a hand and have it answered. But simple Marianna, knowing that not all of her classmates were fast learners, refused to follow this advice because she did not want to put herself above everyone else. Her faith in God was simple, concrete, and profound, formed by the values received from educators and seen in the testimonies of the adults she met, whom she calls brave captains, because with their authenticity and joy, they attract young people to do well. She wrote,
"Freedom is choosing love, beauty, truth. Life is nothing if we forget to live it respecting the commandments dictated by God. Basically, everything we possess does not really belong to us, but we all have the duty to fight discord and oppression in order to finally become truly free."
She had a love for Saint Francis of Assisi and found in the simple prayer inspired by him the motivation to live doing good. She was also attracted to the gospel of the Beatitudes, which she saw embodied in witnesses such as John Paul II and Mother Teresa. She once wrote at the age of 14,
"For us Christians, the true freedom is achieved exclusively by respecting the laws witnessed by Christ with his life, his death, his resurrection. The path they have been following for a long time is the path that all of us should follow because it is the only path that can lead to happiness. The kingdom of God is our goal. Those who in the eyes of most may seem weak, losers in reality, in the eyes of God are the greatest because they were able to recognize the true qualities of the human soul, to be cultivated because they were able to see what not everyone sees, because they knew how to sacrifice themselves and fight for the great Christian ideals."
Her friends remember, in particular, her cheerfulness, her light-heartedness, her loyalty, and above all, her unique and established sensitivity. Marianna continued to live every moment of her life as if it were the last, considering every moment sacred. This gave her a unique depth and color to every gesture and every situation. Once, before her death, asking her mother about the possibility that death might one day separate them, she said,
"Mom, you have to live so we will be together forever."
She had predicted and announced her premature death several times. Unfortunately, this bright and joyful girl, full of love and compassion for others, had her young life ended by a tragic car accident. Marianna Boccolini passed away at the age of 18 on August the 18th, 2010. After the passing of Marianna, it was reported that many who had prayed for her intercession had received many graces. Even one of her atheist professors, who was very touched by Marianna's testimony, shared of how the young woman managed to speak to him about God. She didn't impose her faith on anyone, but a couple years after her death, this very professor is making a journey of faith. Marianna Boccolini is buried in a chapel dedicated to her in Narni Cemetery, where many go to pay homage and pray to her.